Brooklyn's friend. Where's Brooklyn's friend?
All right, is it time?
Caitlin.
Hey guys, it's time. So
okay.
if you're on screen, you're watching on screen. There we go.
Yeah.
If you're watching on screen, we are getting ready to play a game, and everybody needs to have a cup, and you want to go, Brooklyn, what are you doing up here? Brooklyn's coming to get her cup, but this is the game that you affectionately know as Head, Shoulders, Knees, Cup.
Head, shoulders.
All right, but
knees,
we're
cup.
actually going to play this everybody against everybody, and I'm going to explain the directions of how we're going to do this. So we are going to use a game called Sidekick, or a program called Sidekick, and it will produce for us the Head, Shoulders, Knees, Cup.
Head, shoulders,
Everyone
knees,
will be
cup.
playing against one another. So I'll demonstrate for you what it looks like. We're not going to use those instructions today. So I am spinning, and it lands on shoulders. You're going to have to watch the screen. When it goes to shoulders, you would put your hands on shoulder. Last person to get their hands on their shoulders sits down. And then we play again. So whoever the last person is on whatever's on the screen, you need to sit down. And we'll need probably Patty and Hannah. We'll have to watch this for everybody, and we'll do our best up here. So, but we're going to play Head, Shoulders, Knees, Cup. So get a cup, find a place to sit. Eric, help us look for the last person. The last person. You guys ready? All right, so you can stand up. Stand up. Put your cup on the ground. All right,
Cheater.
Watch the screen. And here we go. Tristan is out.
Ooh.
Ready? Here we go. Shoulders.
Oh, that was hard. That was.
All right, here we go.
Where's your shoulder?
Yasmin.
I guess since JJ didn't stand back up. I mean, not JJ, Denny.
Denny.
Yeah.
Here we go. Cups down.
Now I forgot his name.
Ready?
Forgot him for youth. Now I forgot his name.
Oh,
Chris.
Christopher.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, let's try it again. Well, that was pretty. Everybody together. Okay,
that was pretty
it's all
good.
right. Here we go.
JJ.
JJ. All right, here we go. That was everybody together.
That was good.
Weston was the last one up.
Yeah.
All right.
How did Ethan beat you up? He's like, I got a long way to go.
Here we go. Cups down.
That was Ethan. Yeah. Ethan was definitely last. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh. Do it again.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Golly.
Did you have Nathan? Yeah, I think he was a little slower to the draw.
Is that Brooklyn? Brooklyn's the last one. Good job. All right, everybody
Takes
up.
longer.
Let's do it one more time. Here we go. Everybody up. Put your cup down. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I didn't see it.
Let's keep going. Here we go. Chris.
Chris.
All right.
What was that? What was that, JJ? He's doing a lot of moving. It's hard to see what JJ's doing. Very good. He's cheated the game.
All right, here we go. Oh. You're all getting too good at this. Yeah. All right, here we go. Everybody up.
Oh. It's hard to see them all. Yeah.
All right, everybody take a step or two to your toward the center of the building, the room. Take a step or two.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Brooklyn, why don't you come over into that center section right here?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but Brooklyn was over here, so it's
all right.
hard.
Here we go. Ready?
It was all really close. Oh.
Anybody? Golly.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, here we go.
JJ.
I was going to say, I heard knees slap last.
Yeah.
All right, everybody up. Here we go.
Ooh, close. Get a cup, Adrian, hurry.
Ooh.
Get a cup, Adrian, hurry.
Grab a cup.
In the chair over there. Yeah.
All right,
That's a good
here
spot.
we go.
That's a good spot. Put the cup on the floor.
Adrian, put your cup on the floor.
Yeah.
Head, shoulders, knees, toe. Follow the screen. Watch the screen. It'll tell you what to do. Hey, guys, this is for Adrian to see how it's played. Ready, Adrian? You'll be out that time because you weren't fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last person to do it.
Yeah, wherever. Yeah. Okay.
Got it? Here we go. On your mark. Everybody up. Everybody up.
Not JJ. Why did JJ stand up? He's already out.
Adrian's still out.
Oh.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. I'm going to get fast. Just watch the screen.
Oh. Nathan. Yeah. You were the last one up. Yeah. JJ. Luke. Yeah, that was close. I didn't see. Definitely Denny. Yeah.
Here we go. I didn't see
Was it
anybody.
Yasmin?
Oh, she's out of those cheerleading
It was
habits.
close between her and Weston. Yeah.
Here we go. That looked like Weston from back here.
Yeah, I think so too.
What?
I think it was Weston.
Oh, did we? Okay, everybody
Yeah.
stay in. Here we go.
Definitely Weston that time. Yeah. You could see who that one was.
All right, guys. Thanks for playing. That was awesome. All right. Eric, you're up.
Okay. I don't get any kind of video or anything. Name? Date of birth? Social security number? Address? Phone number? Yeah. Well, since I left Denny at home last week, yeah, I did. I even said, hey, call and make sure Denny needs a ride today. And then if I had not seen a car pull into his road, I would have left him again today. Because that's how good of friends you have, Denny. They didn't even say, hey, what about Denny? I said, Denny, y'all were going to let me forget him. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad that all of you showed up today. I know we're missing some, but most all of you showed up. So it's actually more people showed up to youth today than showed up at my work today. So that takes something, a round of applause or something, you know. Yeah, yeah, good job. Yeah. So last week, actually this week is called, I know he typed it in, on the YouTube video he typed it in. Okay, so it's not up here, but it's Did I Stutter? Stutter. So, funny story about stuttering. I had this friend that he stuttered a lot. He was an Italian, and he spoke German, Italian, English, and Spanish. And what was crazy is the only time that he stuttered was when he spoke English. So the way he got over his stuttering was he wanted to get it out. He would and snap, and he would say the word, but he could speak fluent German and fluent Spanish because I saw him do it. I never saw him speak Italian, but I did see him speak the other ones, and he never stuttered, and I thought, man, how odd was that? But either way, that's just a little tidbit from my life. You're welcome. You take that home with you. Say you learned something today. Do what? Your teacher did? That's my kind of teacher. I'm just messing. Yeah, just messing. Yeah. So anyway, did I stutter? So this just leads right into where we left off last week with the epic tale of Moses and how it relates to our lives today. So the story really plays out like an intense historical movie. And it's only going to get better as we keep going. So a lot goes on in Moses' life, as we talked about last week. And we looked at how the book of Genesis leads to the story of Exodus and saw why there was such a conflict between the Egyptians and the Israelites. But in the midst of that tension, Moses was born, raised in the Pharaoh's household, before he killed an Egyptian, and had to flee to Midian, where he started a new life. It was like he joined the witness protection program, and he got a whole new identity. So we ended last week as Moses encountered a burning bush, where God spoke to him from the flames. And that's where we're going to pick up today. So we are in Exodus. We're in the book of Exodus. We're in chapter 3. If any of you want to grab a Bible, that's in front of you and look at it. If not, that's fine too. Chapter 3, verse 14 is where we're going to start today. And it says, God said to Moses, and like I say, we went over this last week, I am who I am. So this is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. So God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. So generation to generation to generation to generation. We're a lot of generations removed from this, but generation to generation. So go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you, and I have seen what has been done to you in the land of the Canaanites. What has been done to you in Egypt. Skipped a whole line there. Wow. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. I looked up all of those words. Mosquito bites, yeah, mosquito bites. So I looked up all those words so I would say them right before I came here today, because I was kind of iffy on some of them. But this is the land flowing with milk and honey. Have any of you ever heard of that before? The land, we promised to send you to a land flowing of milk and honey. So can you imagine what that would be like? If you're taking care of your sheep, just minding your own business, and you see a bush caught on fire. You then think, well, that's kind of cool, but it's really out of the ordinary until you get closer and realize that the bush isn't being burned up as the flames get bigger. Now you think that's kind of odd, kind of weird. So you go up to it, and it starts talking to you. But not only that, the voice is God's. This would take me a while to process. I'm almost certain it would take you guys a while there too, if nothing else. Tell you the truth, I might actually pee myself thinking about what the mess just happened, So pretty odd. But here, Moses had an incredible encounter with God. Remember, this was after he had spent many years trying to figure out who he was and what his purpose was. He was raised in a palace, but that wasn't who he was. He wandered in a desert for a while and probably just started feeling more comfortable with his life as he got married and now had a family. But God had a purpose for Moses, and everything changed with this encounter. So as we look at this encounter and Moses' response, we'll see how God has a purpose and a calling for us, even when we don't feel qualified to fulfill it. So the elders of Israel, this is on down in verse 18, says, the elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. So Moses worried that the Israelite leaders wouldn't listen to him, and I probably wouldn't listen to him either. He lived in Pharaoh's palace, remember, while they were slaves, working all day. Here he is living in the palace. Then he ran off, so they had no reason to listen to Moses. But God stepped in and said, don't worry about them. I will give you favor with them. Sorry about that. Silence the phone, huh? Yeah. I will give you favor with them. And let me silence my phone. And what we need to remember is that God will give you favor. So he's saying, I'll give you favor with them. Just don't think about it. So if God is calling you to do something for him, if God is calling you to do something that is beyond what you're capable of doing on your own, he will give you favor with those you need to have favor with. So in Proverbs 3, verses 3 and 4, it tells you that. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on a tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor with a good name in the sight of God and man. So remain faithful to God, and he will be the one to give you favor. Don't try to put yourself in a position of leadership on your own. Let God do it for you. And the result will be far greater than anything you could have done. So as we go on, it moves on into Exodus 4, starts at verse 10. We say, Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant. Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouth?" That's pretty big right there. You know, Moses is feeling down on himself here. He's like, I can't go do this. There's no way I can do this. So it says, he also goes into, who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. So one of the many things I love about Moses is that he wasn't much different than you or I. We often hear about how great a leader Moses was, and everyone seems to see him as this great figure, but he had issues just like us. So for Moses, he had difficulty talking, especially in front of people. He stuttered, and he figured that there was no way that God would use a stuttering man to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. So Moses had to think that God didn't know the full story. So I'm sure he tried to convince God that someone else is more capable, someone else is more qualified. But God uses people like Moses, and God uses people like us. If you've ever heard of a man from the Old Testament named Gideon, you might remember that he was just a normal guy that God called to lead a small group of men to conquer a huge enemy army. And when God first spoke to him, Gideon's response was the opposite of a brave leader's. It's, God, hey, God, I'm the smallest person in my family, which is the smallest family in all of Manasseh. I say that right too. God uses and calls people like us. So just think, he comes and he calls this guy. I imagine when he says small guy, I imagine he's a guy about, Adrian's size. And he come from a small family, so that's means that he's from a small place, small family, small guy. But he's sending him out to fight this huge army. So, but Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth, and I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were there. He were your mouth, and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it." So remember, Moses walked around with that staff, and he hit it on the ground, and things happened. And that was God reaching out. So God didn't send Moses to Egypt alone. So he knew that where Moses lacked, his brother Aaron was strong. Moses couldn't speak well in front of large groups, and Aaron was a natural speaker. So put the two together and you have a great leadership team. So you don't have to do it alone. And that's what God is saying. So God is going and so to bring the people into your life to help you achieve your calling and your purpose. So it took me a while to figure this out, that's exactly what happened here with me as, I tend to let go and let God do this thing for me, is that he put people in my life to help me grow and help me be able to do things like this and hang out with you guys and find some of the right words. But so in Genesis, God said that it was not good that a man should be alone. So he created a wife for Adam. But I believe that verse isn't just about marriages. It's also about friendships and teammates. God's desire for our lives isn't that we would try to navigate situations on our own. Instead, he puts people in our lives who help us and encourage us when we're distracted or discouraged. And even when it feels like you're in a situation where you have to go through it alone, God is always there. So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So after Moses and God had their talks about Moses' purpose and God's plan for the Israelites in Egypt, Moses returns back to Pharaoh and asks for him to let God's people go. So this is kind of where it doesn't go exactly like you would think it was. Everything's going right along. He's doing what God's telling him to do. So God already told Moses that Pharaoh wouldn't give in just yet. And because Moses went to Pharaoh, Pharaoh was angry and made work even harder for the Hebrews. They now had to make bricks without straw. So I don't know how many of you have made any kind of concrete or bricks or anything like that. A couple of you, okay? Well, there's additives you put in it. It kind of makes it stronger. We add some rocks. They do all this cool stuff with Quikrete now, but back then they had to use something to hold it together. It was sand and water, and they had to use something to hold it together. I imagine that's what it is. I didn't do any research on that, but they used a straw to hold those bricks together. So now they had to make bricks without straw. So imagine that. You go to the beach and get you a handful of sand and get it wet and try to keep it together and see how that works. It doesn't work out too good. So the Israelites got really mad at God. I'd be pretty upset too. Man, I'm making all these bricks. They ain't holding together. I'll probably get in trouble. Somebody's hollering at me, whipping me, not eating. I don't get to eat or anything like that. So yeah, they got really mad at God. This caused Moses to question God because he thought God was going to rescue the Israelites through him. But now the people that he was going to save turned their backs on him. So Moses asked God a question. Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Why, Lord? Why have you brought trouble on these people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people. And you have not rescued your people at all." So a bunch of questions I would have asked. Hey, what's going on here? It's not working out. So the lack of immediate results doesn't mean a lack of God. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't get instant results from God. We pray about something, or maybe even God promises something like he did with Moses, and when it doesn't happen right away, we think that God doesn't care. And we have two choices: to keep going or to give up. The enemy loves it when we doubt God and want to give up. So while we're wondering if God really cares, the enemy is whispering that God doesn't care about us at all. So if we give up, the enemy wins. He knows that God called us to accomplish an incredible purpose. But if he can cause you to doubt and quit, he wins. But it's when we push through and keep going, despite the doubt, that when the enemy suffers is a horrible loss. Because of our faith in God is stronger than any situation we could encounter. When we realize that immediate results do not mean a lack of God, then we can overcome whatever is thrown at us. So Moses had that moment of doubt, and he had a tough conversation with God. He wanted immediate results, but wasn't seeing any. So next week, we'll continue on into this of Moses' story. And as you hear about all these moments of doubt and questions that Moses had toward God, it just helps us realize even more that we're not that different from Moses. And if God could call a murderer who doubts and questions to do incredible things, he could call each one of us as well. So again, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being here. We will do our small groups, kind of separated out again. But this is a pretty interesting story here of how Moses goes through his life and everything he endures. And I question God a lot. I question, why is this not happening? Or why is this not working? And sometimes I feel like it's time to just give it up. It's time to just quit. It's time to go do whatever it is to make it happen myself. So come back next week. We'll be it's a pretty good study next week. I've read through most of it. So it's kind of leaving you on a cliffhanger here of where we're going next in Moses. And just thanks again, guys. So we'll pray and then get into our small groups. I guess we'll meet at the same places we met last week. Does that sound good? Yeah, sounds good to me. So, all right, thanks, guys. Dear Lord, we just can't thank you enough for bringing us here all together, allowing us to be have a little more peace of mind of what we're doing and where we're going here with the virus, and we're seeing some positive change. I know we all have to rely on you, and it's just so hard to do when we're sitting at home and we're just so uncertain of what we're going to do tomorrow, or what we're going to do when we get home tonight, or what we're going to do next week. But Lord, we just thank you for giving us that trust in you that you're going to take care of us. You're going to shine us out of this time of uncertainty. Lord, just be with us as we go into our small group tonight, and let us try to have some meaningful conversations and time over these questions. And just thank you again for all you do. Thank you for all of our help here. And that's it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. That's it.